Good morning, dear professors and colleagues. I'm Lamia Mamdouh, and today I'll be presenting a case that I came across during my rotation in Abu Rish. One time I was called to the NICU to look at a baby with collodion syndrome. I had no idea what this was, so I went there and this is what I saw, and I still had no idea what this was. 2 days later at the clinic, I saw this baby who had a referral that he had Harlequin syndrome and wanted an urgent ophthalmological examination. Still no idea what this was. Were these burn injuries or herpes or atopy or Steven Johnson? And apparently I wasn't the only one who didn't know what this was, as the first person who described this disease in the 1700s described it as follows: that he had no idea what this was. The skin was dry and hard and looked like the skin that resembled the scales of the fish. The eyes appeared to be lumps of blood and they were rubbed out. And unfortunately, it only lived for about 48 hours and then it passed away. So what is ichthyosis? They are a group of genetic skin disorders characterized by dry, thick skin. There are more than 20 types and they range in severity from the mildest form to the life-threatening forms. Ichthyosis literally comes from the Greek word ichthys, which means the scales of the fish, which is the defining feature in all forms of the disease. Collodion syndrome or lamellar ichthyosis is a condition that mainly affects the skin. Infants are born with a tight, clear sheath covering their skin called a collodion membrane. Its incidence is about 1 in 100,000, and it's due to a gene defect in transglutaminase 1 gene, which codes for an enzyme responsible for protection of the skin. The word collodion comes from the collodion membrane that surrounds the sausage, which is how they resemble the baby. Harlequin type is a genetic disorder that results in thick skin nearly over the entire body. Its incidence is about 1 in 300,000, and it's transferred in autosomal recessive inheritance. The skin forms large diamond-shaped plates that are separated by deep cracks. It's caused by mutations in the ABCA12 gene, which codes for a protein necessary for transporting of lipids outside the cells and is important in the skin barrier protection function. The word harlequin comes from an Italian comic servant who was known for this costume, which resembled how the baby looked. Both diseases are commonly presenting with a tight, clear sheath covering the skin. As the membrane dries up, it can lead to fissures, and this affects the barrier function of the skin, causing infection, dehydration, and overheating. This membrane causes physical constraints of the underlying tissue and forming problems with suckling and breathing. The most common ocular manifestation is ectropion, which can lead to dry eye, limbal stem cell deficiency, keratitis, up to perforation. Diagnosis is usually made on a physical basis, a physical examination, which reveals the characteristic symptoms. Genetic testing is the most specific diagnostic test for Harlequin type. Biopsy of the skin could be done. Antenatal diagnosis can be done using the chorionic villus sampling or ultrasonography. And genetic counseling is important as it has an autosomal recessive mode of inheritance, so parents should be notified that they may have a 25% risk of recurrence. Management depends on a multidisciplinary approach between the pediatrician, dermatologist, ophthalmologist. All of them should be involved in the management of the baby. It usually needs an incubator to provide a humidified neutral environment. IV fluids are usually needed, topical steroids, pain management, and regular emollients. The most important thing is to not peel off this membrane, as this will lead to more complications. Ocular management, it is usually medical with extensive lubricants, preservative-free, ointment, bandage, contact lenses, and maybe taping of the lids. Unfortunately, there aren't many guidelines for the surgical management due to the short lifespan of the babies, the lack of healthy tissue to take grafts from, and the high risk of infection and dehydration in the perioperative period. However, some successful surgical managements were tried abroad. One baby had a spontaneous resolution of the ectropion. Another one, they took a graft from the mother. In another case report, they used engineered human skin. In one case report, they used the skin from the circumcision, as it was the only healthy skin available in this baby, and they used it to form a graft. Finally, I don't want to leave this on a sad note due to the advancement in the medicine field. Some babies are now living up to 20 and 40 years and they have different careers, and this is one of the most longest survivors. Thank you.
ثانك يو لميا. ويعني فريكونتلي بتبقوا لسه جايين ابوريش، ودايما الحالات دي بيبقى فيه ريفيرال ويروح نايم ما يبقاش فاهم فعلا يعمل ايه ويتصرف ازاي. بالظبط يتخض، هو المنظر يخض فعلا.
هو المنظر يخض طبعا، بس مهم قوي ان يعني بيخلوا بالهم ان بيحصل لهم هايبرنتريميا. فالالكترولايت دي لازم شو بي انفستيجيتد، مش بس الهيوميديتي، وممكن يحطوهم في جو هيوميد فيري فاريبل. يعني في ريسيرش كتير بس قال لك اب تو 100% هيوميديتي، والانفكشن طبعا كنترول.
هل في اي اكسبيرينس لسيرفيكال كوركشن؟
سكين جرافت بس هي الفكره. للاسف الارقام اللي ممكن احنا نعملهم سكين جرافت اللي اتعمل اللي هو اتاخد من الاهل. ده اللي اتعمل عندنا في الشابوريش مره من فتره، حتى مش هي يعني. بس الحاجه الوحيده اللي اتعملت طبعا كمان عيب كمان الحته اللي احنا بناخد سكين جرافت الهيلينج بتاعها بقى وحش للاسف يعني. راح يعني العين دول يعني هو امريكا هو الاساس يعني. حتى لو كنا حتى في الرعايه بنقول ان هو بيكلمونا امريكا تريتمنت لغايه ما نشوف هيقدر يطلع من الرعايه او لا.
اللي هو extensive lubricants, that's all what we can do. Okay.
كل ما نحاول نبقى كونزرفتيف احنا حاولنا في حاله واحده بس جابت نتيجه كويسه عشان معانا كده عشان ناخد
تمام. Thank you.